All right, so I guess many of you caught the tail end. Some of you were on. Just had a wonderful session with some of the kids, asking some great questions, making sure Jay and Allison actually know the rules this year. Hey, I'd say you guys passed the test, so well done, well done. Um, all right, so let's jump into just general issues or tasks to be completed with the upcoming season. I mean, believe it or not, the first regionals are less than 2 weeks away. Oh, and again, we are recording this session. We do show it on posted on YouTube and get anywhere from 50 to 70 views. So we will address any and all issues. So just for those that are new coaches, what you can expect as we approach the actual event is roughly 10 days before the event, plus or minus a few days, you'll get an email from the tournament directors that will walk through the general logistics of the event. Then hopefully we will have the tournament director or their representative show up on the Zoom call, this one, the week before the event. They will walk through the logistics again. And then, of course, any questions can be asked directly to them. Do not ask them, please, what is the schedule of the day, because we don't actually want them to have it at that point. I take that back. It's not that we don't want them to have it. The issue is that there's always seems to be some last minute changes, and we don't want multiple schedules floating around because that has happened before and has created a lot of confusion. So, therefore, as a coach, we know you want the schedule as soon as possible. We know your parents are going to be asking you, what is the schedule? You will likely get the schedule either the Wednesday or possibly the Thursday before the actual event. So I know I'm going to get emails about it, and I'm going to give you the same answer I just gave you right now. Expect it either the Wednesday or Thursday before the actual event. So thank you for understanding, but like I said, if we have multiple schedules floating around, it creates way too much confusion. So we need to give you what we hope to be the final schedule. All right, thank you for understanding that. Lately, I've been getting emails about teams changing their names. Happens every year. I get it. Kids are fickle, just like ordinary people, right? So the best thing to do, assuming that you're 2 weeks away from your event, it's really on you to update your first Inspires team registration. And I think Brian, maybe you can give a little detail on how you do that. I know you gave some instructions in an email.
Yeah, hang on. I gotta do it in such a way you don't give out information I shouldn't. That whole portal thing.
I gotcha.
Jay's gonna block me again when I
So when
screw up.
you log in as coach or administrator, there is the profile of the team. And if you update the first system, that's the information I'm able to download that I will give to the tournament directors, and everything will be in place. We also understand that your team may want to change their name 2 days before the tournament. I wouldn't recommend doing that. I'm not asking our tournament directors to be able to do that, but some of them are very good, very efficient. We will make the request, and if they're able to pull it off, then great. If not, they will be preparing using the official team name that you have registered at first.
Okay, I think I can do this safely. Okay, I am logged into the dashboard. Okay, if you look at your team, okay, this is an FRC team, but it works the same for the other ones. Click on team information, team profile. There's your team name. You can change it there. So change it, go down, hit save. That's all public information. And then that'll be updated there. I would say even if you are less than 2 weeks away, update it there as well. Even if, because if you advance, then it's updated and they'll pick it up for advancements.
Good
I
point.
assume you pull it all the time. So
All right.
and
So
honestly, it's a lot easier if you can do it on the system. So anything that's not an exception handling thing makes it easier for us to run tournaments.
okay. The other questions that I've been getting are, of course, related to payment. As you all should know, $175 is the entry fee that needs to be paid to BadgerBots before the event. The newsletter has the link if you're paying online. Those that requested an invoice, I have sent out all the invoices. Checks are coming in, so I guess my email got through to most people. If you need assistance or your school district is taking a long time or whatever the issue is, please let me know. I will be sending out a 2-week reminder before the event. I will send out a week before reminder. That will probably be a little bit less friendly, but I'll do my best. So please take care of it. It's just, obviously all the teams are in the process of paying. I really don't want to be a collection agency. Thank you. Other than that, for challenge, I don't believe I have anything else. I will say this. I don't know if coaches picked up in the last two newsletters related to the project. Granted, we're getting pretty close to some of these regionals, but if you're kind of struggling on the project, there is a link in the newsletter to 3 videos where they actually interview oceanographers and people that are directly related to the project. So if you are struggling and feel like you're treading water, that might be a good place to watch the videos. Each one is an hour long, I think, 3 of them. I'm not so sure you need to watch all 3, but until you find an idea that suits your team, it is a resource that we made available. All right, I think that's it for me, unless there are any questions. And if not, then let's pass it over to Jay. If anything from or Allison from the game table, robot game.
So no updates this week. Allison, I don't know if you have anything. I'm gonna go over the Slack stuff, but
Yeah, go for it.
okay. So we had a couple of questions on Slack over the week, so I'm just gonna read those out. I just need to make sure none of them were asked confidentially. Okay, one team asked if the robot can take the boat home, and then they can load it up. And I'm assuming they're talking about the research vessel. So number 15. So can we take that back home, load it, and then push it out to the area? Absolutely. There's no problem with that at all. Please do be conscious of, sorry, Ryan sharing that. Please do be conscious that there is a no equipment touching constraint on that research vessel. So if you bring it home, load it up, and don't get to push it out, anything you have in there that has that constraint, you can lose those points for. Or if you're pushing it out to its scoring area and you don't quite make it in time, you can lose the points for some of those items inside the boat or the research vessel. So just make sure you have time to get all that done, or I guess I should say, know what you're allowed to touch and when you're allowed to touch it. We just went over this with the kids too on their call. So, yeah. So if you can get that all the way out into the area in time, yeah, no problem with doing that. There's no rule against that. Sorry, let me Go to the other Slack. Heather, the question that was asked by that other team, was that in a general referee area? Do you remember? I'm looking for it.
I believe so.
I just don't want to give away anybody's strategy, but if it was posted.
No, it's not a strategy thing. You're totally allowed to ask it.
Okay, cool.
Or to share it.
Okay, just making sure. And I do think it was posted in the official referee question. So the team was asking, I'm paraphrasing here because I don't have it in front of me. Once they have their robot back in home and they're getting ready to launch, are they required to reach out and like launch the robot from a start button, or can they use something like a touch sensor or color sensor? The question is, yes, you can. The requirement is that you interact with the robot. So there's no requirement that you reach out and touch with your finger to launch the robot. So say you have a color sensor sitting on top of the robot. You have your runs programmed to activate based on whatever color you give it. You put a red block in front of it, it runs the red program for launch. There's no problem with that. Another person was asking, if the scuba diver's flipper falls off, is that considered breaking a model? Again, something we went over with the kids, and it was a great question. So what we consider breaking a model, you can't take a mission model apart. If just by an accident or something like that, say the flipper falls off of the scuba diver, did that make it easier or possible to score the mission? If the answer is yes, then you won't get points for it. If the answer is no, then we would still give you points for the mission. There was a follow-up on that asking if we will adjust, like will we adjust the flippers? Will we move them in a certain position? And once again, we went over this a little while ago as well. We will start all of our models, hopefully, in a valid starting configuration. The only one that we can change based on a request is the coral tree, which is number one. Number one, is it?
I believe it's number
Yep.
one.
So
Yeah.
coral tree, when we have it set up, if you want it to be rotated or moved in another position, you are allowed to ask us to move that or to change it how you would like it. Otherwise, we'll start with how we set it up. We're not trying to trick anyone or trying to not give you guys the option. We will tend to not ask you what position you want it to start in, because I think that's going to cause confusion. If a kid gets ready to start the match and I'm saying, hey, how do you want this set up? They're not going to know what I'm talking about. So if you want us to move it to a certain position, feel free to ask. We will move it. Otherwise, the mission model should be set up in a proper setup orientation. And we will generally not change the position of a ring or of a, you may want a certain thing set up with a certain angle or whatever. We will generally not do that as long as we have the setup in a proper setup.
Hey,
So,
Jay.
with the
To
reef
clarify on
segments,
that.
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to clarify on the scuba diver before we move on, Jay.
Yep.
In the reply you made on Slack, it said that the head refs had to confer that we were still okay with the accidental breakage is fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with saying this. I just want to make sure, are we saying this?
Yeah, I think so. I don't see anything that
Okay.
says that we shouldn't do that. And I don't think incidental contact is, as long as it's not
Okay.
making it easier to score, I don't see a downside to it.
Understood. Amy's just not on this call, so I'm going to go reply to her quick while you keep taking questions.
So with the reef segments, is there any distinguishment on where those are set up? Can we choose?
Your answer is yes and no. There's a distinguishment where they're set up. There's a spot on the board for each one. They're not designated to be in, like the red one goes here, the orange one goes here. So no,
Correct.
you cannot choose how they're set up. As long as
Okay,
they're
but
in
is
their
there-
as long as they're in their proper setup orientation.
this is something the kids brought up to me today. Is there an actual like position that they should be in? Like the green one goes in this circle, the pink one goes in that circle, the purple one goes in this circle.
Nope.
Can the kids ask the setup of where they would be?
Can they? Yes. Will we do it? Probably not. If it starts,
Sounds good.
only because we don't want to cater to someone's programming, right? We want
Right,
to be
right.
fair to everyone, and it's a random thing. We're not trying to trick anyone. There just is no place that they go. I mean, and there's no specific red goes here, green goes here. It's 3 spots, 3 corals. They go there, and that's where they go.
So, and full disclosure here, the green one likes to get snagged underneath the robot
Fair enough.
because it's thin and causes basically complete disaster.
I'd say that their mission development was absolutely spot on then, because the whole idea of this mission is that you're driving a boat around and you're trying to avoid damaging coral, right?
Oh, we're going to damage it. We're just going to replace it.
Fair enough.
So, all right. Good to know. Thank you.
I think that is. I'm going to look over the Slack stuff again as well. I think that is.
You want to talk? There was a question about the technicians at the table. October 17th in general. Oh, sorry, official referee questions.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That might be good to cover.
Yeah. Sorry, it was the same person that asked another question. I thought it was the same one.
Yeah.
So the question is, could the second technician hold with him the next attachment while the robot is still on the mat? The answer is the technician can hold the attachment at the table. The kid waiting to tag in, like so for teams that may not know, when you come to the table, technicians or team members are designated red or blue. You designate yourself red or blue. So red team members will stay on the red side. Blue team members will stay on the blue side for this match only. And red cannot tag into blue. Blue cannot tag into red, but red can tag into red. So just to make that clarification for you guys. So the question is, can they hold it? So the technician at the table can hold the mission model because they're over the home area, right? The kids standing back in the, I don't know what we call that, the little auxiliary area where the other kids go. They are not allowed to hold anything. So everything has to be on the table.
I think the only other question from the ref questions was about champions rank, but that might be a better question for the Bryans.
Oh yeah, I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, I saw that one in there. I thought we'd do that one too.
Yeah. That's probably, yeah. Like I told him, yes, you want the most points that you can get for your robot game. That's as far as I go with that, and you guys can have it from there. I think that's all I have. Do you guys have any questions for the robot game?
My only other question, because they kind of was on the whole time, but chimed out for a while. The water sample interfering with the cargo that the kids were asking. I wasn't clear on that.
The water sample interfering with the cargo.
Or falling out of the cargo, I think is what it
Yeah.
was.
So there were two main things here that we clarified with them, and I'm going to restate them because the people here weren't necessarily on that call and it wasn't recorded. So two
Yes.
things. What was the first thing? Okay. So what is considered in the cargo area? When you're putting your samples, your trident parts, and your treasure chest into the cargo area of the research vessel, number 15 model, or mission. So what we believe to be what the referees agreed to, and I'm checking on this, we'll post it on Slack. I believe that inside the cargo area is we're doing the vertical plane. So imagine the cargo, the sides there, the square goes all the way up to infinity. So if you're hovering over top of that cargo area, it would count as in. And again, I will verify that. And that will be posted on Slack. The second thing that we were talking about is a kid asked if they were loading something into the cargo area and it fell out onto the mat. I believe they said, could we then just take it and put it into the cargo area, which we clarified you can't take it by hand if it's on the actual playing field. But if the robot can scoop it, pick it up, put it back in, whatever, that's fine. Or if the research vessel is in home, you can certainly load stuff by hand and then push it out.
Okay, so they were just questioning the location of where the cargo
Yeah.
area was.
So,
Okay.
Michael, I'm not sure if some of you guys weren't here that long, but we had a head referee meeting probably a month and a half ago now, and I just honestly can't remember how we decided we were going to do this. We weren't sure if we were going to break the plane or if we actually were going to require it to be below the horizontal plane of the
Oh,
sides.
really?
Yeah, so I believe that we are doing the vertical plane, but I will check that and I will let you guys know within a day. So I have the video. I just have to pull it and see how we said we were going to roll it.
Just as visual, the horizontal plane would be very difficult. But
Well, I mean, if you think about it,
challenging.
if you think about it, the whale's mouth is like that though. So,
Exactly. Yeah. No, you're right.
and it's not unheard of. We have had numerous times in the past where there was a horizontal plane, so it had to be partially in or inside of a spot. So,
Well, that's every year with the home start. 12 inches.
Yep.
So, all right. Awesome. Thank you.
well, let's be clear. Sorry, because you said something. I just want to make sure. Some teams that are watching this video may not be experienced teams. So what Michael just said, the 12-inch start. So the 12-inch launch, there is no 12-inch height limit to launch. The 12-inch is for inspection only. And then once the match starts, you may launch at any height. Okay, so for anybody watching this, the 12-inch height limit is for your inspection. All right, any other robot questions? Allison, anything to add? Because I'm about done talking for today.
I think I'm good on my end, Jay.
It's all you, Brian and Brian and Brian.
There you go. So let's start with the question that somebody asked about judging. Let me pull up that document. I think it's here. Yeah, the question really was around this champion score here down here. And it really comes down to the champion's rank. So you want to have the highest score in all the areas, but the highest score gives you the lowest rank. Okay, it's like a golf score. So you want the lowest rank, the highest score. And we use that for calculating it. So it's basically, how do you figure out who's the best, the top teams there? It's based on the scoring in the different areas, the ranking in the different areas rather. So the lowest champions rank is the top teams at the event, top overall teams at the event. Each of these areas is considered 25%. Innovation project, core values, robot design, and robot game. So first place robot performance has the highest score. You can think of it that way. That first place now becomes your rank, if you look at it that way. And we do that across all the different areas. I was going to make this bigger here too. We were talking about this here.
Actually, while it's been brought up, do you want to go through the other awards real quickly?
These here.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, we can go through this. So high level, from a required awards perspective, the Champions Award, which is the top overall team, we give at least one of those out. And then at the same level for the next one down, so that's the top tier. The next tier down is the core values, innovation project, robot design, and robot performance. Those are all at the same level. They're not considered, it's not one's better than the other kind of thing. And those are all required awards at the event. And then the Coach Mentor is an award that we have. This does not go against the teams in the Coach Mentor one. We do give out a form for Coach Mentor, and we'll have one out there for peer awards this year. The thing to remember is coaches, yes, we ask you to get the Coach Mentor Award form into the kids' hands. We know it may feel awkward and that you feel like you're saying, hey, go nominate me. But we really want the kids to give us the feedback. So you get it to them. I've been telling the tournaments to start putting them on the pit tables so other people can find them. But we find that if we stick them in the envelopes, they don't tend to get it. We don't get too many of them back. So please, please, please do have the kids fill out the Coach Mentor nominations. And then the other thing I want to talk about awards philosophy from a first perspective, a team gets one award and within a robot performance. So you can get and another award. Okay. But you can't get two other awards. You got to think same way internet's unstable. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep,
I
we
could.
gotcha.
Okay, good. What else? There are some other awards that occasionally get given out as well. Engineering Excellence, Breakthrough Award, Rising Star, Motivate, and the new this year is the Peer Award. We're going to try to be giving that out at a bunch of the tournaments. This is actually where teams nominate teams. That'll be another form that gets put out in the packets. The Engineering Excellence, Breakthrough Award, Rising Star, and Motivate Award are actually part of the judging process. The Engineering Excellence Award is given out after the other core awards above to the next highest ranked core values team. And then Breakthrough Award, Rising Star, and Motivate Award are really based on nominations from the judging process. And I'll look at apparently too many tabs open. If you look at the rubrics, that first one this year, the session feedback, there's these award nominations here. So we have the judges fill those out. Even if we're not, my guidance to the judges, even if we're not giving the award out at a tournament, checking them as additional feedback for teams. So we ask them to do that if they see a team that fits that. Brian, did you want to add anything to this?
No, I think you've covered everything.
Okay. Craig, did I get what you wanted out of the awards?
I would just add that if you go back to the required awards, just real briefly, those awards can go too deep depending on the size of the tournament. When we had 36 teams at a tournament, I think we went 3 deep. So a first, second, third in that particular award. So it can happen. Although this season, because we added 2 new regionals, we don't have any 36 team regionals anymore. So we probably won't go 3 deep, but at the larger ones, we'll have a champions award, second place champions award, first core, second core, and so on and so forth.
And there's a prescribed way that these are all figured out in the judging process. So there's another plug if you're interested in learning how to what the judges are looking for. Sign up and we'll train you how to judge.
Well, actually, that brings up another important point, though. We do get feedback about the deliberation time, and it's never, I won't say never, but rarely is it just about the actual scores themselves. It's about who gets what award, and what if a team is eligible for two different awards, which one should they get? So there's a lot of different combinations and permutations, which sometimes is what causes the deliberations to take longer than what they seem like they should. So obviously we just try to do our best to iron it out and give the awards appropriately.
And we need all the awards, including all the robot scores, before we can start. Because we need all that because of this criteria down here.
And I guess the other thing I just wanted to, open up to the coaches that are on the call. Do you have any questions about the rubrics? We've talked about them at a pretty high level at each one of these Zoom sessions. I mean, it's all right there, what the judges are looking for. Whether the kids can execute and communicate clearly enough. That's part of the presentation. And then, of course, there's the Q&A after it. So again, if there's any questions about the rubrics, this is the time to ask. And if there aren't, that's fine too.
So I'm just kind of go back through things a little bit from a judging session perspective. Again, this is all published on First website. The flow chart, this is kind of what the judging session looks like for the half hour. The team comes in, sets up, team welcome. There's a little introduction the judges give. The kids can introduce themselves, kind of thing. And then we get into the innovation project. This is where the kids do their presentation, really say up to 5 minutes. And we recommend getting to that 5 minutes. Really, this is where the judges start to learn about all the cool stuff the kids have been working on with their innovation project. And then we switch into the question and answer for the judges to ask questions of the team. Again, it's not meant to grill the kids. It's really meant so that we can pull out and extract more information. Our goal is to figure out where to mark them on that rubric, and then ideally as high as possible. And then once that is completed, we go into the robot design explanation. This is where the kids talk about the robot, the work that they've done, and then mission strategy, things like that. And then going into robot design question and answer. Okay, one of the key things is if you look at the rubrics, and I'll hop over there in a minute, this is very much a process-orientated interview. Okay, it used to be what's that one cool feature you have on your robot, and things like that. And it's no longer that in the process. It's much more of it's much more of a process-orientated interview. I'm using process too much, but showing there. So once we get done with that robot Q&A, then we move into final share and feedback. This has been called different things over the last few years. They've settled on final share and feedback for this year. Notice it's not talking about core values, and we'll talk about core values in a second. The teams may choose to share final thoughts with judges. Judges may ask clarified questions, then provide verbal feedback to the team. Okay, my guidance to the teams is, you give a 1 to 2 minute summary or fill in some things if you missed them during the other part, or you want to add in a piece of additional information from a question that you thought of later, on project or robot design. They can do that, but don't expect to monopolize the whole 8 minutes. That's really, we need times for the judges to ask a few clarifying questions as well, and then they'll move into the verbal feedback to the team. Okay, they still will get the written feedback as well, but this is the verbal feedback that they started having a few years ago. And then after that's completed, the whole team will leave the room, and then the judges will discuss the team and complete the rubrics. Okay, I guess a little process thing for those who are new to this. You get queued out to the judging area typically. So find out if the tournament does something different, they'll tell you as well, but expect that you'll get queued to the rooms. So you don't have to just go find it yourself. Oftentimes we don't give you the room numbers on purpose, so we know where the teams are and we can make sure that they're where they need to be. But when it's time for your right before the session to start, the family members and coaches will go into the room, and we'll leave the team in the hallway. Once everybody's situated, then we'll let the team enter the room and set up and start the process. So the clock really starts when the team enters the room. And then once the time is up, we ask you to efficiently get out of the room. The judges have to get their feedback done, so they're going to be busy getting ready to start filling in the rubrics. So they won't have a lot of time to chit chat. You can say thank you or whatever on the way out, that's fine. But we do ask that it kind of moves in an organized, prompt manner. And then going back, okay, to those rubrics, these rubrics again on the first website. They're new this year, got majorly redone. So if you haven't looked at them for this year, look at them. Starting off with what used to be the core values rubric. There's still 3 sheets, but they've changed how they do core values this year. But they do give you feedback in core values, feedback on innovation project, and feedback on robot design all in one sheet. Again, they can give you the optional check marks for the awards: Breakthrough Award, Rising All-Star, and Motivate. And then there's separate rubrics still for innovation project and robot design. You'll notice each of the rows is a little bit different. There's some rows that have square boxes like you're used to in the beginning, developing, accomplish, and exceeds columns. And then there's some that have a gear for that row. Okay, the ones with the gear also are counting towards core values. So if you get a 3 in there, as an example, in that row, that counts 3 in, because we're looking at blue here, which is innovation project. It'd be, so if we look at this line here, right, you get 3 here, they check this one, okay. Then if you get accomplished, then you're getting accomplished for identify evidence of research and in core values. And Brian, do you happen to remember offhand which one that one is?
I think Brian dropped.
Okay.
He had a meeting.
Yeah. Hold on, I'll have it up.
Discovery.
That was probably Discovery, yeah. Just trying to find my document that's got it handy. There we go. Yes, that was Discovery for core values. This one here, this row, the second one under design is teamwork. Under create, the first one is innovation. And then under communicate, both of those, the first row is impact and the second one is fun. And then if we go down to robot design, just so you guys have heard these. The first one under the second one under identify, the coding one is part of discovery again. And then the first one in design is inclusion. Second one under iterate is innovation. And I'm looking these up to make sure I give you the right ones. Yeah, second one under iterate is innovation, and then to communicate, the first one is impact, and the second one is fun again. Just see how that works. Those we get recorded in both areas. If you look at how it was, the previous rubric had only 6 rows for core values. There's now, I believe, 10 for each of the 3 areas: core values, innovation project, robot design. Plus, you get the 3 core values rankings from the robot game table. So the referees check that as part of the robot game. Any questions?
I have a quick question. Our kids know that the core values is being judged as part of robot and project, but they're still really excited to do like 30 seconds in that 8-minute block at the end of the like flow about core values. Is that still okay if they choose to spend that 30 seconds or a minute, however they want, and if that's what they want to do, that's good to go?
We're not gonna stop them. I mean,
Okay.
well, if they go too long, we'll stop them. But
Right. No, they just have like 30 seconds, but yeah, they still really love that idea, and I just didn't know if I need to steer them in a different direction or if that's fine. Okay.
well, again, my recommendation is look at the rubrics and make sure that they're giving stuff that's valuable to filling out the rubric.
Thank you.
Because after the 30 minutes is over, our goal is, we have to put a mark on each row on all these rows, a check mark on each of these rows. So help us get the best information to move it as far to the right as we can.
There's a question in chat about
Oh.
registering.
First dashboard saying those over 18 must have their own account. His birthday was 2011, so definitely not over age. And yes, this is. I never had that issue.
I'm super confused why it won't let me register him. It won't, like, the next button is grayed out. Everything is filled out, and the only thing showing yellow or red is youth 18 or older should use their own account to apply. His birthday is 11/17 of 2011. Absolutely not over 18.
Just a response in chat. I think the age is 13. To need their own account, you still register another parent, but they need their own connected account.
He's not 13 yet, though, either. He's 12.
I would say contact first.
Okay.
I wish
Sounds
I had a
good.
better answer. Unless Craig,
I just didn't know if this was like an ongoing issue but yeah, I'll call them. It's fine.
I haven't had to register a kid for.
Isn't there also a manual process, Craig? Shouldn't that not work for her? Isn't there a manual process to be had as well if we need to?
If ultimately you can't get a child registered, then yes, there is a manual paper waiver that needs to be filled out and signed by a parent, guardian. That also applies to any exceptions. We have some young participants that, for certain reasons, would rather do challenge than explore. So they won't be able to register the normal way through FIRST. We do have the paper waiver that needs to be filled out in those types of situations. So same thing. But you got to have the waiver in order to get a dog tag. So either be on the roster. Oh, well, one thing for coaches and new coaches that are watching, when you go to a tournament, you want to bring a printed roster from your First Inspires registration. That way the tournament directors or whoever is there checking you in knows that all the participants have been signed off on the consent and release, and that both coaches are the team is event ready. Both coaches have taken the youth protection program, so on and so forth. So bring that printout to the tournament. If you have a participant, as I just said, who doesn't fit into the system for whatever reason, those are the ones that you would also bring a paper waiver signed by the parent or custodian.
I did see one kind of weird thing on the first dashboard. I know, strange, right? So my wife was doing her judge training. She had completed training on all the videos and everything that she needed to watch, and it still wasn't showing as being done. Allison's shaking her head, yeah. So she went back and watched videos multiple times. It still wasn't marking it as done. So the way that we solved that is she logged out of the portal, back in again, walked through things, just clicked them open and closed again, and it showed then. So if anybody's having trouble volunteering and doing training, I know some of the refs were. Allison, I saw you shaking your head too.
I tried doing my
Yeah.
ref training because I have to do both
Yeah.
ref and head ref training, and I had
Yep.
it too.
So that's how we that's how it worked for us. I don't know, maybe maybe a window wasn't closed and it needed to see that closed before it registered it or whatever, but anyway,
Yeah.
that's
A lot of the information that I have access to does take an overnight download, upload, whatever the process is. So it may not, say, for example, you do the final steps to get your team event ready. It may not show up right away that it's event ready, but check the next day and hopefully it will be there. That's at least been my experience. So one or 2 day lag depending on, weekends and holidays.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I've seen it come through right away and I've seen it
Okay.
take a real long time. Don't know if we just hit a batch cycle at the right time or
it's the
Yeah.
same thing with the YPPs too. I've seen those go through immediately, like within minutes, and then I've seen them take 48 hours to do. So
I've been told for 2 years now that they're working on integrating all the systems into something that actually works.
all right, there we go.
So I don't know. I'm not holding my breath, but I'll certainly
we don't
take
have
it
to
when it
log in 3
comes.
times to the dashboard.
Uh,
This is laughing.
One other item then before we adjourn, just primarily for new teams, of course. The question is, what do you as the coach and team need to bring? And let me reverse that question. Let's say, what do you not need to bring?
Mm.
Do not bring your table. Do not bring your mission sets. Do bring your presentation, bring anything that, is part of the work that you put together. You will get a table in the pits where you can display all the good stuff the team has done, as well as store your stuff, hopefully in a somewhat tidy manner. But yes, please do not bring your mission sets or table. We will have at least 4 practice tables at every regional or every event for that matter. And then there will be 4 official game tables, which will be in a separate location from the pits, but you'll get that layout from the tournament directors for each event. As you can imagine, every event is a little bit different just because of the venues being different, the size of the event being different, so on and so forth. So obviously you'll want to pay attention when those details come out for your specific event.
You can also bring extra Lego parts and stuff like that. You can do work on your robot while you're there. So there are some teams that bring extra parts to take advantage of those practice tables.
Always bring extra parts because you can always share.
Yeah.
And I guess one more thing for newer teams. When the schedules come out, you'll notice that most of them have a practice match, scheduled practice match. That is on the competition tables, not the practice tables. Okay, so they'll actually be with the referees on the competition tables. It won't be on the practice tables. The practice tables are there'll be usually some form of sign up for them. So they're, get some equity of how they're used. And then, but that practice match is on the competition table with the referees.
Yeah, if you happen to go to a tournament where they are having you log in time slots for your practice tables, just be conscious of what your mission or your competition round time is, so you're not conflicting with your scheduled or with your practice time that you schedule. So
watch that with your judging session too. So don't schedule your practice time during your judging or your matches.
If you schedule both at the same time, please come to your competition round when you're judging rather than the practice table. So. All right. Any other questions from anyone at all?
Okay.
All right. We'll see you guys soon.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. So next week, Zoom will be challenge related. We hopefully will have the directors from West Salem Regional and Appleton, because those are our first regionals, first weekend of November. All right. Well, everybody have a great week. And my email at flteams@badgerbots.org if you have any questions or specific team related issues. All
Thank
right.
you.
Good night, everybody.